This was a relatively simplified political map of India just before British colonization began. We know the what, but it is important to know the how and why behind India's colonization. How and why the British were able to take over India had a lot to do with the internal politics of the subcontinent. Independence was at three levels: internal administration, finance, defense, and foreign policy. Slowly, Indian rulers, due to their internal rivalries, kept losing them one by one. While there were issues between kingdoms and empires like the Maratha, Mughal, Mysore, Rajputs, Nizam, and Nawabs, there were internal rivalries within the same entities. The Nawab of Bengal, Sirajuddaulah, had issues with his general Mir Jafar, the bankers Jagat Seths, and others. The Scindias and Holkars had problems with each other. Scindia and the Peshwa had issues. The Peshwa and Holkar had issues. The Peshwa had issues with Nana Fadnavis, the chief administrator, and also with the Bhosles of Nagpur. Now, within the Holkar line, there were issues over succession. Scindias had issues within their family, and so did the Peshwa family, which had rivalries over succession. In the south, there were succession crises between two claimants for the position of Nizam of the Deccan and also between two claimants for Nawab of Arcot. Then there were Cochin, Travancore, Tanjore Marathas, and others in the game. Such rivalries made the subcontinent unstable, making it easier for the company to exploit. Succession crises began in the Carnatic and Hyderabad for the positions of Nawab and Nizam, respectively. This alliance had Nizam Nasir Jung and Nawab Anwaruddin Khan on one side, supported by the British East India Company, against Nizam Salabat Jung and Nawab Chanda Sahib, supported by the French East India Company. In its early battles, the French were winning, and thus they gained territories of northern Sarkars and influence in South India. But important event happened in Bengal. The Nawab of Bengal, Alivardi Khan, had agreed with Raghuji Bhosle of Nagpur to give tributes in order to stop the raids. But after Raghuji's death, there was a succession issue at Nagpur. Meanwhile, Alivardi Khan's successor, Sirajuddaulah, was busy making enemies in his kingdom. He was unpredictable and mistreated influential people like Mir Jafar, the commander of Bengal forces, Jagat Seth, the banker and business tycoon of Bengal, and his aunt Ghasiti Begum and other merchants and officers. He attacked and captured Fort William, and thus the British East India Company saw him as a threat, and so did the others. Their conspiracy gave rise to the Battle of Plassey in 1757 that brought British influence in Bengal, triggering the downfall of the Indian subcontinent. India had 27% of the world's GDP in that period, and 50% of that came from Bengal alone. Once the British got this prosperous region full of textile and other industries, they became stronger. In the Carnatic Wars, the British won against the French and gained the region of northern Sarkars from the Nizam and more control over the Carnatic region. In these wars, the Maratha sided against the French, with the Battle of Udgir against the French supported Nizam Salabat Jung, weakening him, paving the way for Asaf Jah II to take over, who was supported by the British. Marathas and Mysore under Hyder Ali joined British-supported Muhammad Ali Khan Walaja against the French-supported Chanda Sahib for Nawabship of Arcot. This, in some way, made British influence stronger in the south while almost destroying the French colonial empire. Meanwhile, The Marathas lose the areas of Delhi and Punjab to the Afghans after the defeat in the Third Battle of Panipat. After changing a couple of puppet Nawabs in Bengal, the British were challenged by Mir Qasim, former Nawab of Bengal, Suja-ud-Daulah, Nawab of Awadh, and the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II, leading to the Battle of Buxar, which the British won. This resulted in complete control of the British over Bengal and made Shah Alam II a puppet emperor to sign farmans in their favor. They used it to gain legal control over northern sarkars. This crucial change made it easier for the company to gain legitimacy for their rule in India. Meanwhile, the Marathas had lost the Battle of Panipat, losing territories beyond the Satluj River. They were trying to regain territories under Mahaji Shinde, but there was a Peshwa succession crisis in Pune. Peshwa Nana Sahib had died and his son Madhav Rao became Peshwa, but had a tussle with Nana Sahib's brother Raghunath Rao for the position. The British East India Company and Hyder Ali of Mysore came into conflict, leading to the First Anglo-Mysore War, which ended a status quo. Slowly, the kingdoms in Tamil Nadu, like the Tanjore Maratha, Ramnad, and Pudukottai, started losing their independence to the British. Peshwa Madhav Rao died of tuberculosis, and his younger brother Narayan Rao became the next Peshwa. Narayan Rao was murdered, and Raghunath Rao succeeded him. But investigation and judicial hearings found Raghunath Rao guilty. A coup was staged, and Narayan Rao's newborn baby, Savai Madhav Rao, was declared the successor as Peshwa. Raghunath Rao went to Bombay seeking British help. This led to the First Anglo-Maratha War. Here, Nana Fadnavis, minister, statesman, and regent for the infant Peshwa, joined Nizam Ali Khan, Hyder Ali of Mysore, Janoji Bhosle of Nagpur to overthrow the British East India Company completely out of India. This alliance was joined by other Maratha chiefs like Mahaji Shinde, Tukoji Holkar, their former enemies, the Siddhi of Janjira, the Portuguese, and the Dutch East India Company, along with French support to Mysore. The goal was to attack and uproot the British out of India completely. This could have been an important turning point for India. But sadly, the British foiled the plan. They provided Janoji with tributes from Bengal, bribed his army stationed in Odisha in order to cross over to the south, reinforcing against Mysore. They won over Nizam Ali Khan by handing over Masulipatnam, a part of northern Sarkars. The Marathas eventually won the First Anglo-Maratha War and gained control over Delhi and the puppet emperor Shah Alam II. There was also an attempt to liberate Marathas of Tanjore with Hyder Ali's help, but that was never executed. The British entered the Second Anglo-Mysore War against Hyder Ali and later his son Tipu Sultan, but it ended in stalemate. The Tanjore Maratha slowly became subordinate to the British. In letters, Peshwa Mahadev Rao II assured Raja Amar Singh of Tanjore of liberation from the British during Mysore's invasion and assured land in Revadanda for the Dutch East India Company, who were Tanjore's ally. Tipu Sultan's rising military technology, thanks to the French, and his expansionist policy made the Nizam, Marathas, Travancore, and British unite to form an alliance. This led to the Third Anglo-Mysore War, where Tipu lost half of his territories to the alliance. Marathas gained northern Karnataka, Nizam gained the east, and the British gained the southern part. Ramnad kingdom became a small zamindar under the British. Travancore too signed a subsidiary alliance with the British and lost defense and foreign policy to the company. New crisis arose in Pune. Peshwa Madhav Rao II died without an heir, and his regent Nana Fadnavis had to work under a new successor. Bajirao II, the elder biological son of Raghunath Rao, was his option. But due to the bitter rivalry between Raghunath Rao and Nana, it was difficult to work with him. So Nana made his younger brother Chimaji Appa II the Peshwa by convincing the mean aristocrats. But Chimaji became a puppet under Daulat Rao Shinde, Mahajit's nephew and successor. So Nana made Bajirao II the Peshwa. Bajirao II was a paranoid person due to his family history, along with an alliance with Daulat Rao Shinde and Daulat Rao's father-in-law Sarjirao Ghatke. Bajirao II became a tyrant. Succession crisis began between Kashirao Holkar and Mallar Rao II, who was supported by his brothers Bithoji and Yashwant Rao. Daulat Rao supported Kashirao and Mallar Rao II was killed. The Shinde and Holkars got into conflict that destroyed central and northern India. The Maratha coffers were diminishing, and constant war had made them indebted. Treasurer and revenue in charge, Nana Fadnavis was imprisoned to get access to his perceived hidden treasures. The Maratha Chhatrapati Shahu II of Satara, a ceremonial figurehead, needed more financial independence from his prime minister, the Peshwa, and so he formed an alliance with his cousin Shivaji III of Kolhapur kingdom. This was aided by the Nizam Asaf Jah II. Mahachi Shinde's widows also sought money from Daulat Rao for their expenses, leading to another infighting. They were attacked by Sarji Rao and thus gained support of Amrit Rao, Bajirao's elder stepbrother. The Shinde ladies joined Shahu II and Shivaji III in restoration of the Maratha monarchy. Nana was released by the Peshwa to stop this threat, but Nana played both sides. After initial success, the pro-monarchy forces were defeated and pacified. It was another event that could have changed the fate of India. Nizam Asaf Jah II entered a subsidiary alliance with the company, ending independent foreign policy. The Fourth Anglo-Mysore War took place, which the British won in alliance with the Marathas and the Nizam. Everyone gained more territories. Tipu was killed, and the original rulers of Mysore, the Vodiyar dynasty, were restored as Maharaja under a subsidiary alliance of the company. The kingdom of Cochin, Pudukkottai, and the Nawab of Carnatic also entered subsidiary alliance with the company. Meanwhile, Sikh Empire was formed by Maharaja Ranjit Singh by uniting Sikh kingdoms and taking over Lahore, Multan, Kashmir, and Gilgit provinces from the Afghans. Nana Fadnavis died. The Maratha Civil War became bitter when Yashwantrao Holkar, now the only surviving leader of the dynasty, invaded Pune. Bajirao II fled to Bombay and sought British help under a subsidiary alliance of the company. Yashwantrao made Amrit Rao the Peshwa, but Bajirao's defection to the British enraged every Maratha leader, uniting them against Bajirao and the East India Company. This led to the Second Anglo-Maratha War. Due to mistrust among the Maratha chiefs, the British won this war, making Peshwa Bajirao II a puppet. Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II once again became the British East India Company's puppet. This also made Anand Rao Gaikwad of Baroda an independent ruler under a subsidiary alliance of the company. Meanwhile, the British waged a war against Nepal and gained regions like Himachal and Uttarakhand from Nepal. The Nawab of Awadh entered a subsidiary alliance with the company. Understanding that he was now just a puppet under the company, Bajirao II joined Daulat Rao Shinde, Mallar Rao Holkar III, Mudochi Bhosle II of Nagpur in the Third Anglo-Maratha War that ended with the end of the Maratha Empire. Chhatrapati Pratap Singh of Satara was asked to abolish the Peshwaship and was given a small principality to govern under a subsidiary alliance. The company entered subsidiary alliances with other major chiefs, ending the empire. With east, south, west, central, and north, The British East India Company proceeded to the Sikh Empire and other kingdoms, eventually completing their Indian conquest. But what if the British had been stopped at some level and dragged out before they could become invincible? Well, that is the story of the world of my novel, Expedition to an Alternate Swarajya, where the subcontinent remained uncolonized. It shows a world set in 21st century India of alternate reality. For the alternate history of the story, stay tuned for the next video. My novel is available on various platforms as paperback and ebooks, links in the description. Stay tuned to Pravdyam now for the video on this alternate reality.